Which throws DJ Wheat to the Wolves. Quinn finally ends his subathon by beating Maven, but not until all of us find out that Quinn doesn't use soap when he showers. Alinity and Amaranth still have OnlyFans, and I can't for the life of me figure out why people are trying to ruin that for others. And the hot tub meta conversation continues to heat up without any sort of actual clarity as to what's going to happen on the other side. This and more next during This Week on Twitch. The hot tub meta conversation was briefly touched. Briefly may not be the correct descriptor. To preface, first of all, DJ Wheat, leave him alone. So to have to deal with the onslaught of the 99% of humans on the internet who just troll because there is no repercussion for them doing so, for him to go out there and just be just chumming great white waters, first of all, completely shameless out of Twitch to just throw someone out there. It's somewhat commendable that they did it. Now, DJ Wheat's answers, even though fairly candid, which he has a tendency to answer in that particular manner, which is why I would imagine that they thought he was the best to do this. His answers were still on rails. And I don't know that there's any way to really, even with how kind of, again, candid he can be, and even at times coming off as fairly combative relative to defending his point, all of his answers were still very much business suit and tie Twitch on rails answers. And I don't think that a lot of people expected that, though they should have, nor do I think that they necessarily wanted that. There are still some fairly legitimate questions the community has for Twitch. One of the major ones being, as we've seen recently with some fairly large streamers coming out of all different types of content creation, speaking out against it. Yesterday, we got a rare two-header take out of Asmon. It's generally Asmon is fairly reasoned and fairly logical in the way that he approaches problems and has conversations about these things. But he ended up in this weird kind of, even in spite of the standard Asmon hyperbole, he ended up in this weird comparison. First of all, in this tangential porn comparison with trying to draw this comparison between porn and hot tub streams, and then ended up essentially down this incel description path of explaining that the people who are mad about hot tub streams are just incels who don't actually want females to be successful on the platform, which is an entirely two-header take. So we're going to watch the weird porn tangent he ends up on right now.
Wants to see them on the front page. Nobody wants to see them on the front page? Really, bro? I think that there's a lot of people that want to see them on the front page. Yeah, I think there's a lot of fucking people. Hot tubs are just one step into allowing porn? Bro, I think the same fucking thing, bro. You know what else is one step towards allowing porn? Allowing a woman to show her fucking face, man. Because if you can see her face, then you know what she looks like, then you can be attracted to her.
So this Asmon's obviously being hyperbolic with that particular retort, though the top level point remains that someone posed that particular statement in his chat, which brings you to the incel point that Asmon tried to make, the two-header point he tried to make relative to this particular topic, the hot tub meta. Rather than assume that you have to find clarity in the 99% tendency of people on the internet to be trolls and dig themselves into hyperbolic extremes just because they're able to do so under the guise of anonymity, you should try to find that there is reason to the current complaints about the hot tub meta. One of which, Asmon makes in one of his more standard 5-head takes, when he essentially says, what happens when this hot tub meta, the allowance of this hot tub meta, introduces a scenario in which an underage girl decides to do a hot tub stream. This is obviously this is question 1A that Twitch needs to answer, because that is a enormous problem. He also very plainly says, and this is a take that is really non-negotiable if you're being intellectually honest, the hot tub meta is very clearly sexual. It's insane to suggest that it's not. And you really don't have to dive too much deeper into that. Now, who cares, right? As long as everyone who is indulging or partaking in the hot tub meta is over 18, especially from the streamer side, then who cares? Honestly. Now, the 1B component of the hot tub meta, and kind of back to an actual piece of, or a viable issue that Twitch has to figure out, is from the consumer side, how does a parent prevent their 8 or 9-year-old kid who likes to get on and watch Minecraft or Pokemon from being able to navigate to a hot tub stream? Now, Asmon goes on in that same stream to make another 5-head take, which again is something that is fairly common with Asmon, to essentially say that it is probably safe to say that the plurality of content on Twitch could be deemed not necessarily appropriate for, especially, 10 and under, but depending upon how a parent chooses to raise their child, it could be inappropriate for adolescents as well. So rather than allow us to introduce a Mont and Bailey fallacy on that, the real question needs to be, what can Twitch do to introduce some parental guidelines for Twitch account? I think that it's not any more complicated than that. I don't know that we have to muddy the water any more than that. It's a fairly easy solution. They just have to start to work on it. And I think that the whole conversation, boom, just disappears like that. The flip side of that is we have ended up with a lot of fairly, from the male perspective, awesome discoveries on Twitch with people like Kaylin, Faith, who have been doing these hot tub streams. As someone who's over the age of 18 and a male who is into females, I can recognize the fact that, sometimes that hot tub stream, pretty sexy stuff going on there. And that's not their fault, and they should be doing it if they're making a shitload of money. Who cares? That is on the donos' fault. That ain't their fault. That ain't got nothing to do with them. The one thing we do have to make sure that Twitch does is, please, for the love of God, not let Quinn into hot tub. One thing that we found during Quinn's subathon, I think all of us found this out, is that Quinn is insanely out of shape. He's low on T. He's got a T boost constantly. He thinks he's in ketosis. He's probably not. He probably doesn't even know what ketosis actually means. It's clear that his body is not responding well to anything. That he has the body of a 6-year-old, boy. But we need to hopefully try to get Twitch to prevent things like this from happening.
And my body's...
Yeah, it should be about 100 Fahrenheit. If it's not, you need to turn it down.
Oh, wait, what's 100 Fahrenheit? I don't even know what that is.
Two-header.
What's considered 100 Fahrenheit?
Two-header Quinn. We definitely don't want to end up with Quinn hot tubs. Really, any other person on the platform, shoot for it. Quinn, we really got to keep Quinn. It's no good for anyone involved. It's just gonna end up driving people away from the platform. But with Quinn in mind, Quinn did pull off what I believe all of us thought was going to be impossible, which was killing Maven. So Quinn's subathon, for those who aren't aware, had essentially two conditions in which it could end. The first was that the timer runs out as per the usual. The second was that Quinn beats Maven, then preventing the timer from gaining any more time and then subsequently running out. So with Quinn's chat continuing to execute Order 36, it seemed as if Quinn was going to die at his keyboard, because the alternative ending to the subathon was Quinn beating Maven. And anyone who watches Quinn regularly knows that the prospect of Quinn beating Maven is you have a better chance of getting hit by lightning. Well, lucky for Quinn, not so lucky for Tyrone, Quinn basically got struck by lightning and was able to kill Maven, subsequently ending his subathon, which was a blast to watch. All jokes aside, was a blast to watch. Quinn did a great job. His mods did a great job as well. But I think all of us are happy that we no longer have to watch Quinn shower with only water, bird shit water that trickles down from his NZ just bricked cuck shed water rain barrel thing that he's got set up that he thinks is normal, that is not normal at all. And we also no longer have to watch things like
I'm not a clown. I'm a good gamer. I'm a good gamer. I'm a good gamer. I'm a
Kevin's
fucking good gamer.
PX7.
It's fucking true. True. Big true.
nice try, Quinn, but we all know that's big fault. Next, Bill Maher somehow still has a show on which he said that Twitch and watching people play video games, which just immediately goes to show how ignorant he is as to what the entirety of what the platform offers individuals or consumers. Said it's an effing waste of time, and goes ahead to just get absolutely crushed on Twitter, which he should have. Bill Maher needs to mind his own business. Bill Maher hasn't been, at least in my opinion, relevant for the entirety of my life. I know that there are a lot of people who watch him. I think that he has some fairly reasonable takes most of the time, but he will get himself in trouble with topics that he just, as he rants about them, it's very clear that he doesn't actually have any understanding about what he's talking about. And this is one such instance where he got into hot water about some comments about Twitch, and he should have, because they were off base and they were just flat out ignorant, to be honest with you. Next, we have XQC and SFan competing with Quinn. Even though neither of them are actually involved in a subathon of any sort, both of them just like to stream what is essentially nonstop. Good for them. Both of them are wildly entertaining, although when X gets on a roll, I still have no idea what he's saying. But X continues to get, and SFan, oddly enough, with his character, Captain Cornwood. But X continues to get a bunch of shit from the RP community as if he isn't making all of them rich. So this is something that and I happen to be a fairly big fan of GTA RP. I think it's hilarious. If you haven't watched it, you should, because it truly is funny. But the RP community is really toxic and really, really two-header with their takes and some of the pigeonholes they back themselves into. So they did this originally with Summit when he started playing a couple years ago. I can't precisely remember the time, but when bigger streamers cross over into the world of GTA RP, for some reason they get a lot of hate. Now, X, and I think that X would probably admit this, there's a learning curve, as you might suspect, to understanding the rules of how an RP server works, understanding kind of the ebb and flow of how you should be RPing with someone. But X has, to his credit, actually tried to learn some of that. He's had a couple fairly brutal OOC moments, as I'm sure anyone was able to see on live stream fails. But for the most part, X has been getting better. And the one thing with the RP community that has always just really made me laugh, especially as we've seen the NoPixel server blow up, along with a lot of the kind of the OGs of the NoPixel server predating Summit, like the Chain Gang, some of the mods and developers and the actual team that works to keep that NoPixel server kind of going. That entire scene has blown up, and it's because of the mega streamers. And for some reason, the RP community still continues to go just straight two-header mode in thinking that that's not the case, when all of us, it's pretty clear to see that that's obviously 100% what happened. So they should maybe try to be less toxic and more reasonable as bigger streamers that are new to RP transition in and start to work a little harder on that learning curve of RP. They should try to be a little more reasonable. Last but not least, I admittedly, and this is not for lack of trying, still don't understand the Misgiff, Nick. I do understand Soda, because Soda is hysterical, and Soda is constantly playing like a bunch of really weird off-meta games, and he does a really great job with it. But otherwise, I don't understand the whole concept of the house situation they have going over there. I will continue to try to get the lowdown on that so that I can explain that to people who are like me and just don't get it. Not to judge, to each their own. But the one thing that I can still confirm as of the recording of this, which is May 2nd of 2021, I can confirm that Misgiff and Nick both are still significantly less attractive than their significant others, Maya and Melina. So that is still a big true on that front. And with that, we will end this week on Twitch. Have a good week. We'll see you on Sunday.